This is Lawrence Memorial Hospital, and 40 years ago this was a location featured in the TV movie The Day After. And this, and this, and this, and many more. The Day After was aired on ABC to more than 100 million people. To a lot of people, this was the first view of Lawrence outside of basketball, and its impact on politics and on Hollywood is even seen now. We start the story with a montage of many places in Lawrence, and we are introduced to the Dahlbergs, the Oaks, the Hendrys, and Airman First Class Billy McCoy. While that is happening, Dr. Russell Oakes is seen with his daughter at Spencer Art Museum and the Memorial to World War I in Kansas City. Later, the families are seen getting more and more worried about a nuclear strike due to the missile silos near them, and the air base, so many start disaster prepping. Next day, NATO attempts to break the Helmstedt and Marienborn checkpoint, suffering a near-complete massacre, which puts people on further edge. Daily life starts to crumble as people leave Kansas City and Moscow is evacuated. Then at KU, we learned that the NATO-controlled West Germany was invaded by the Soviets and NATO was unable to stop them. Then, a Kansas resident who played Jolene in the movie says the chilling line,
"The man on the radio said there might be a war. He's saying how we should unplug all our radio and TV and stuff. There's not going to be a war, is there?"
There's pandemonium as people go to the grocery store and buy out all they can get. Oakes is stuck in traffic when the emergency broadcast goes off. He tries to contact his wife, but he can't, so he drives back to Kansas City. Then we see the Minuteman missiles fly through the sky. Unclear of who fired first, Billy McCoy tries running back to his family, realizing either way, he'll die. Kansas City, we see the streets in chaos, trying to find shelter, as we cut back to Dr. Oakes on the highway, as we see his car cut out due to the EMP produced by the ICBMs. Then, 2 nuclear strikes hit, destroying and incinerating anyone near Kansas City. The Hendrys are incinerated after ignoring the alert. Marilyn and Bruce Oakes are seen turned to ash. Oakes runs back to Lawrence, knowing he's one of the last survivors, knowing he'd need to help any patients that come.
There.
Oakes receives fallout reports by shortwave from the faculty head
Joe Huxley on
at
broadcasting out of the Science Building.
but seems fatal no matter what. We see the remaining survivors go to the hospital for help, but nearly all the supplies are gone. Huxley tries to contact other survivors with no response. Denise goes into a state of delirium as she runs out the basement through the fallout, in which her fiancé ran after her while yelling,
"See? There's nothing wrong out here. It's a beautiful day."
No. It only looks that way. Hey. Hey. You can't see it. You can't feel it. And you can't taste it. But it's here. Right now. All around us. It's going through you like an X-ray. Right into your cells. What do you think killed all these animals?
McCoy heads towards Sedalia until he hears it's destroyed. He befriends a mute man and travels to Lawrence, where he dies of radiation poisoning. Back at the Science Building, the president makes an announcement of a ceasefire with the Soviets. He promises relief and stresses liberty, democracy, and American leadership, and is set to shots of listless survivors and American rubble, and hospital staff piling up the dead and treating the living by candlelight. Soldiers deliver food to the refugee camps that has grown around the hospital, but they have to hold food back for other camps, ending in a violent squabble which some survivors and soldiers are killed. We see how great the magnitude of sickness is by seeing thousands of refugees who lay sickly and dying on the floors of Allen Fieldhouse. Coming home, Jim is shot and killed by squatters. Denise is balding, bruised, and dying, and Klein is dying. Aware that he has sustained a lethal amount of radiation, Oakes returns to Kansas City to see the site of his home before he dies. He finds squatters there and attempts to drive them off, but instead he's offered food by them. Oakes collapses and weeps, and one of the squatters comforts him.
Didn't you hear me? I told you to get out of my house.
This movie had a great impact on the viewers and the policies that followed. The disturbing images shown were so great that Ronald Reagan, a huge advocate for the building of nuclear defense, ended up speaking to Mikhail Gorbachev to sign the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, which banned any nuclear or conventional ground-launched missiles. Without this film, the world could be a very different place. Right after the movie premiered, ex-mayor David Longhurst of Lawrence stood in front of a crowd of 1,000 people strong candlelight vigil under the Memorial Campanile. Longhurst broke the silence and spoke strongly to the crowd. We saw our community destroyed. We saw civilization annihilated. All our nightmares came true. I don't want this film to be a preview of coming attractions. This film changed the way we think about nuclear war, and now it seems as though we're in the same spot. We do not want to watch the world burn. With America pulling out of the Intermediate Range and Nuclear Forces Treaty, it seems as though we are in a new Cold War. And I think the last word is telling.